Tulane was in a position where they needed a quarterback.
Boy, did things change quickly. Now he heads to the Tulane Green Wave. There's a lot of breaking news around the game of college football, as always, but today, bigger than most. I'm Nathan Johnston, here with my co-host, Brad Hopkins. It's time to break the huddle. And Brad, big day for college football today. Breaking news, Jake Retzlaff transferring to Tulane, coming over from BYU. We actually talked about Jake Retzlaff and, well, more so the BYU Cougars a few weeks ago. We both thought, well, maybe Jake Retzlaff stays with the team. Maybe he gets suspended a couple games. Boy, did things change quickly. Now he heads to the Tulane Green Wave. I'll turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on this move for one, for Jake Retzlaff, and two, for the Tulane fans?
I like the move a lot. Tulane was in a very, very interesting position, of course, with Darian Mensah moving on to Duke after last year, and they had a three-way battle developing between Iowa transfer Brendan Sullivan, Kadin Semonza, who transferred from Ball State, and then Donovan Leary from Illinois, Nate. So Tulane was in a position where they needed a quarterback, and in my opinion, Jake Retzlaff going to step onto campus. I would imagine he's either in New Orleans now or he's going to be there in the next couple of days. But in my mind, if he gets up to speed very, very quickly in camp, he's an experienced guy. He's going to be the starter for the Green Wave here in about 4 weeks. This is a big move. You know, reading all the articles, reading the preseason publications and watching videos, Tulane was one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the American Conference. They were predicted to battle for the conference championship, and in my opinion, with a guy like Jake Retzlaff, I think Tulane becomes the favorite again there in the American.
Yeah, I don't know what went down at BYU. I respect their code of conduct at their school. Obviously, a lot happened from behind the scenes, and I hope to get more information soon when I get a guy from BYU coming on the show to do a BYU preview. But the reality is he's gone now. He's at Tulane. To your point, it's an instant upgrade for the Tulane Green Wave. Every year it seems like, okay, they've got a fighting chance to do something special. Especially, I think the most recent one we can think of is beating USC in the Cotton Bowl a couple years ago with Caleb Williams playing for USC. And by the way, he didn't sit out that game.
No.
So I think that's an instant upgrade. I think Jake Retzlaff is a phenomenal quarterback. Again, we don't have the full details on what happened off the field. All we know is that the case was dropped, and I hate it for it changes everything for Jake Retzlaff. Yeah. And now he's got, 4 weeks to figure this out? I mean, this is, Brad, I don't think people realize this is a very quick turnaround. I understand he's a talented guy, 20 touchdowns on the year last year, over 2,900 yards passing, but that team chemistry with that offensive line, with your center, with your tight ends, with your running backs, with your wide receivers, it's not an overnight experience. I'm curious to see how that affects Tulane.
And I agree with you. That's a very, very good point because, he can learn, the route tree. He can learn the concepts, but, developing chemistry with his receivers, that's going to be big. I think a big thing is going to be he's going to have to learn the protections and everything as well. And look, he's a guy that he's been in football a lot. Of course, he was at the JUCO level. He's experienced at BYU, but he's going to be putting in some overtime. I would imagine at the Tulane facility, there's going to be some late nights, early mornings, especially with his wide receivers, his tight ends, his running backs. They're going to have to put in some extra work. And I will say, for Tulane fans, don't expect Tulane to just be boom on fire on offense early on. I think it's going to take some time, but Nate, I will say I'm a big fan of Tulane's OC, Joe Craddock. He is a very, very young and upcoming OC, a guy that I think could vie for some bigger OC positions later this winter when we have the coaching carousel. But I think he will do a good job getting Jake Retzlaff up to speed. But I want to make this point. This is still probably going to be an open quarterback competition.
Yeah.
I think he is, obviously, we both got this news. We texted about it earlier this afternoon, but he's not going to be just handed the job there in New Orleans. I think there's 3 other guys in that room they're going to be battling. So I'm very intrigued to read about this. We're getting ready for fall camp here. This is going to be an intriguing position battle to watch.
Yeah, I don't think Coach Sumrall has a choice. Most of these guys, I'm assuming, have already been in for at least spring ball, if not longer, at the quarterback position. And yeah, to your point, it's going to take Jake Retzlaff some time to get used to this quarterback play at a new school, new wide receivers, new coordinator, new everything. Let's talk about the experienced starter with the upside. Obviously, like I mentioned, Retzlaff coming into this year off of a 20-touchdown season, threw a lot of interceptions, 12 interceptions, that is, but he also can move with his feet.
Yeah.
And I think, to your point about maybe Tulane gets a rough start or a slow start more so in the beginning of the year, I have a feeling he's going to use his legs a lot early on. Six rushing touchdowns on the year last year. I don't know how many yards he rushed for off the top of my head, but it's going to play a big factor as well in that quarterback room. And I think if you're Jon Sumrall, if you're Coach Sumrall, yes, you have other quarterbacks. Yes, it's going to be an open battle competition by default. I think realistically, he's got to be your guy.
Absolutely. I think, too, and you made a great point, I do think we're going to see him use his legs early in the season. I also think they're going to really – we are both assuming that he's going to win the battle. I also think you're going to see, especially the first 3-4 games, things are going to be simplified. He may be only reading half the field. He may have one read and he's taken off. It may be a heavy RPO offense. I think they're going to make things as, simplifies things as much as can. And you're going to see stuff – week in and week out that they continue to install, that they continue to bring on his plate. But this is a big pickup. And, we talked about, something else, Nate, is, this is a tough schedule for Tulane. You got Duke, you got Northwestern, Ole Miss. Tulane played Ole Miss really, really tough last year. So having a guy like this that's got Big 12 experience, that's huge. That's very, very valuable for this locker room overall.
Oh, yeah. And when we talk about Tulane, we talk about replacing quarterback Kadin Semonza, who went to, I believe, Duke.
Duke, yes, correct.
Big NIL deal there. I mean, what a gift for Tulane. Here they are, 4 or 5 weeks away from the start of the season, and then bam, they land this guy. Yeah. One of the most experienced quarterbacks in all of college football. I wouldn't put him necessarily at the top of top 10 quarterbacks in college football. However, an experienced, seasoned veteran who can day one, week one, be ready to play for you.
Right. Nate, one final point, and then I'll turn it over to you to wrap it up. And I know we both talked about this. He's walking on, and there's, to our knowledge, there's no NIL deal.
No.
This guy saw it as this is an opportunity for me to go play, for me to still compete at a high level, and for him to hopefully put out one final season of some game film for the NFL Scout. So I think you're going to see a very, very motivated, a very determined, and a guy that's, going to play with a lot of motivation, Jake Retzlaff. I'm excited to watch him. He's going to be fun for Tulane this year.
I think so, too. I think if he can keep his head straight, and I think if he can put the past behind him, regardless of whether it's true or not, if he can just kind of sit with that and move on, mentally, I think it's going to be the hardest thing for him. Physically, he has the attributes. Right. Mentally, how does that play out? And I want to make one more point, too. We look at their tough schedule and the slate that they have ahead of them. Duke, Northwestern, Ole Miss. I mean, this is going to be tough for the Green Wave this year. I expect them to make a playoff run. We talk about the group of 5 each year having a guaranteed spot in the playoff. Tulane's one of those teams where, in my mind, they should have no problem getting to the playoff.
Yeah, we'll see. We mentioned those 3 games as the non-conference, but then you throw in both the service academies in Army and Navy. You throw in UTSA.
Yeah, UTSA.
I mean, Memphis. The American is a very, very good conference. It's deep. It's talented. And look, you mentioned it. If Tulane, I'm looking if they go 2-1 in that non-conference, you're thinking, okay, they're probably going to have to go undefeated in conference play. It's a tall task, but once again, Retzlaff is a guy that he knows how to win. An 11-2 record last year, you mentioned that, and that's valuable. He could be the game changer that the Green Wave needed.
One thing that's guaranteed for the Tulane Green Wave, they've got an experienced quarterback who's confident, has speed, has the throwing arm, the arm power, the arm talent. He can sling it any way, which way or the other. biggest question mark for me is how does he look with the wide receivers? That's going to be the big sign very early as, okay, how's that chemistry between him and the receivers?
Absolutely.
Outside of that, I think Tulane's in great shape.
Yep.
And I think they picked up a huge addition in the portal today with transfer quarterback Jake Retzlaff. Tulane fans out there, let us know down in the comments what you think about your new quarterback and Jake Retzlaff. Can he help lead y'all to your first playoff appearance in the new college football playoff era? Or is he just going to be a solid guy that gets you about 8 to 9 wins? We'd love to hear from you. Be sure to like this video, comment down below, subscribe down below, and as always, turn on that bell notification so you can stay up to date when we post our latest content. We'll see you next time. It's time to break the huddle.